Hello everyone, I wanted to take this opportunity to introduce to you the concept of a three-term contingency, as well as discuss both positive and negative reinforcement. Now, when we talk about three-term contingency, we're talking about essentially the boxes, and you see this first introduced to you on page 16 of our textbook, and the idea of before, the behavior, and after. So it'll look like this, and I'm trying to get this on the screen. So you'll see, right, the before, try it again. Sorry, I'm going this backwards here. Before, the behavior, and then after, okay? So let's use our example here of positive reinforcement, okay? Positive reinforcement. Now remember, positive reinforcement means that we are adding a reinforcer in order to increase the behavior in the future. So when you know that a behavior is increasing, we know that it's being reinforced. And there's two different options. There's positive and negative. And right now we're going to be talking about the positive part. Now keep in mind that the before is always connected with the after. Always connected with, okay? Let me give you an example, all right? So let me find my pen here, okay? So let's talk about how a baby loves food. Okay, everybody loves food, right? And you want to reinforce a baby's behavior of speaking, right, of verbalizing, okay? So the before and the after are related in positive reinforcement. So we're going to add a reinforcer. The reinforcer is going to be food, okay? So we're going to add food, okay? We're going to add food. Notice I'm starting with acknowledging what the reinforcement is. I'm going to add food. So before, there must be what? There must be no food. Okay? So notice this, that because we're adding food, there must be no food before in order for it to be valuable. In order for that reinforcer of food to be valuable, there must be no food to begin with. Okay? So they must have a lack of food, a reduction in food, something along those lines. So we want our baby to talk. Okay? So that's the behavior. Remember, the behavior must always pass the dead man test, right? If a dead man can do it, then it's not a behavior. If a dead man can't do it, then it is a behavior. So a dead man cannot talk. So here we've got no food before. The baby talks, then we give it food. This is positive reinforcement. We are adding a reinforcer in order to increase the behavior. Okay, add a reinforcer in order to increase the behavior. Three-term contingency, positive reinforcement. Okay, so negative reinforcement, we also talk about things like escape or avoidance. You'll often hear it being talked about as escape or avoidance. Okay, so with negative reinforcement, now watch this now, we have the same three-term contingency. Okay, we have something aversive, something unpleasant before. We have an action, a behavior here, and that behavior results in getting rid of that aversive stimulus, okay? So notice that when it's negative reinforcement, we're taking away the aversive stimulus, okay? And because we take it away, right, as the result of the behavior, we are then still increasing the behavior, okay? So let me give you an example. Let me give you an example here, okay? And there's a lot of examples in your textbook that Mallet has in chapter 3, but let me just give you an example, okay? So you've got the sun in your eyes, and that is unpleasant, okay? Unpleasant sun in your eyes. That's an aversive stimulus. The behavior that you do is you put on sunglasses. Are you all with me so far? Put on sunglasses. What's the result of the sunglasses? No more sun in eye, right? No sun in eye. So what this result is that you remove, watch this now, you remove that aversive stimulus. Now, by doing that, right, by the action of putting on sunglasses and being negatively reinforced by the removal of that aversive stimulus, you're now more likely to what? You're more likely to put on sunglasses when the sun is in your eyes. Also, that's called escape. Also, you can anticipate it's a sunny day outside. I'm going to go ahead and put on sunglasses and avoid that unpleasantness, right? So this works for both escape and avoidance when it comes to negative reinforcement. Another negative reinforcement that I can think of is, okay, it's cold, right? It's cold, okay? So you put on a sweater. What does that do? What's the result of putting on a sweater, right? You're cold. You put on a sweater. What happens? Okay, you're no longer cold, right? You have removed the aversive stimulus of the cold by putting on the sweater. Therefore, you are negatively reinforced, right? Right, because we've removed the aversive stimulus. So I hope that gives you some insight into our discussion for this week, right, as to what I mean by the three-term contingency, before, behavior, and after, right, as well as understanding the relationship between the before and the after. If we're going to reinforce using a reinforcer with positive reinforcement, then that reinforcer needs to be reduced or absent before. If we are going to be using negative reinforcement, then we have the presence of an aversive stimulus before, a behavior that results in the after of the removal of that aversive stimulus. Okay, so that's a fundamental inside of ABA, and that's a building block for future concepts. So I wanted to make sure I gave you this video in order to help clarify that. And if you do have any questions, please let me know.